Have bad DreamWorks sequels expanded beyond the Trolls franchise? And one Shrek movie? Well, let's see for ourselves in The Boss Baby Family Business. I vaguely remember when I reviewed the first Boss Baby back when I first started Animation Explosion and passed it off as a harmless and stupid movie that didn't offend anyone. Well, nowadays that opinion has changed over time, and now I think the movie's pretty bad. It's not terrible, but a lot of what I praised earlier was primarily glossing over the actual flaws it had and excused it because I thought it was in the imagination of a child. I still wouldn't call it one of the worst DreamWorks movies ever, but it's far from as passable as I remember. Well, nearly 5 years later, we have a sequel that just kinda snuck in during the pandemic and dropped onto a streaming service called Peacock. What the fuck is a Peacock? Is this gonna be another streaming exclusive mess like Trolls World Tour? Taking place several years after the first film, Ted Templeton is now fully grown and lives with his wife Carol and their 2 daughters Tabitha and Tina. But as it turns out, Tina is also a boss baby and needs Tim's help as well as the original boss baby Ted, once again played by Alec Baldwin. Thanks to a special formula that turns them into kids, they need to infiltrate Tabitha's school and figure out what Dr. Erwin Armstrong, founder and principal of the school, is planning behind parents' backs. I'm gonna tell you straight here and now that if you saw the first Boss Baby and you hated it, I doubt the sequel's gonna change your mind. Then again, mediocre movies can have good sequels that improve on it. Look at movies like Angry Birds 2 or The Croods 2. Unfortunately for the Boss Baby, every issue I have with the first movie has been carried over here, and yes, it very much feels like a rehashed sequel. Tim still can't bond with his family properly, there's some over-the-top villain, there's chase scenes, there's all the nonsensical bullshit that you've seen before, and this movie does them no favors. So I guess in that sense, if you really like the first one, you'll probably like this one too. This still isn't Trolls World Tour or Shrek the Third levels of bad, but that's not really a compliment. Because rather than having standout good and bad moments, Boss Baby 2 feels more like the definition of play it safe. Not just how frequently it mimics the first movie, but also how bland a lot of it is. Apart from the normal Boss Baby stuff, we get an overarching story about Tim struggling to connect with his oldest daughter Tabitha now that she's growing up. And for some reason, Tim misses the days when he was just a kid. I don't know why it's not those teenage years or so on. Remembering what I did as a kid is kind of embarrassing, but it's all in favor of this bland story, so yay, I guess. Then once Tim turns back into a child, he starts to follow Tabitha around school and she assumes he's just another kid. They become friends and suddenly we have a lot of weird romantic implications, borrowing a lot of Back to the Future vibes, I see. It's not bad, it's just kinda weird. Then there's the villain's plan, who, might I add, is voiced by Jeff Goldblum. Now, I have nothing against Goldblum. He's a funny actor and he's put in a lot of films that suit his monotone, down-to-earth voice. But here, he's voicing an over-the-top and wacky villain. Not only does the voice not fit a character of that caliber, but most of the time I can hardly tell what his emotion is supposed to be. Is he supposed to be sad, happy, angry? I don't know, because the voice doesn't give a clear answer. Oh, and brilliant job having a movie called The Boss Baby where neither Boss Baby are the focus of the movie for very long. What is this, Tom and Jerry again? I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm running out of things to say, but there's just not a lot I can say that I haven't already said about the first one. If you like the first film fine enough, you'll probably like this as well. It feels way more like a rehashed sequel than a refined sequel, topped off with bland animation and boring as hell stories. If you're someone who's really into stories about dads trying to reconnect with their daughters, then check it out. I won't stop you from doing so. But even for as bad as the first one was, it at least kept my attention. At least I got some things out of it. Here, it's too boring and uninspired that I don't have anything else to say. Check it out if you're curious. I'm gonna take a baby nap.